decisiveness is a #1 quality of a dynamic leader. His ability to communicate a decision with passion and integrity is an art form. Coming up. On Face the Nation interview with Clement, Busisiwe Mkhwebane, the newly appointed convener of the MK in Mpumalanga, has indeed confirmed that she is indeed a convener of Mpumalanga and no one else.
Okay, how are things going in Mpumalanga so far since you've taken over?
You know, things are going so much well. Actually, we've achieved a lot in a short space of time. I was appointed on the 25th of October when the president announced that I'll be the convener of Mpumalanga. The province indeed was is #2 in terms of performance, and hence the first project was for the president to say thank you Mpumalanga by hosting that event in Mkhondo.
Yeah, and you speak about the leadership of the MK party at national saying thank you to Mpumalanga. I interviewed Mary Phadi on the show a couple of months ago, who was the convener of the MK party in Mpumalanga, and she seems to suggest that it's part of her contribution that led to the success or successful performance of the party in that province. Do you, as the MK party, actually appreciate the role that she played in that province? Because she seems to suggest she made a lot of investment as a convener.
Ms. Phadi was not the first convener. The first convener of Mpumalanga was Ubabu Kamete from Mkhondo's side. And Mkhondo is one of the sub-regions which performed good, though their numbers are few, but then their performance is around 55%. So after Ms. Phadi, then there was in fact, after Kamet, it was then Ms. Phadi. So it's a collective effort, it's a collective work. Ms. Phadi is from the Nkangala region, where I'm also from. And Nkangala region, anyway, didn't perform that much good compared to Gersibande and Nhlamulo. Nkangala region is the third region in terms of performance. Though where she comes from, Emalahleni, it was also 22%, which it was kind of good. So it's a collective work in the achievement.
What's the status of her membership right now in the party? Because we spoke to her a little earlier on, and she seemed to suggest that she's still the legitimate leader. In fact, I think she said she's considering bringing a contempt of court charge against you because you are in contempt of the court order that reinstated her as convener. How are you reading what's happening since she won that court case last year?
I would say, firstly, yes, the matter is sub judice, and the matter was she took the organization to court, which is in violation of the constitution of MK party, because when you take the organization to court, you are automatically dismissed. That's the first thing. Secondly, that matter of taking or saying I'm in contempt, it should also, in fact, it should be against the president, because I'm appointed by the president, who said I should be the convener, I should stabilize the province. And unfortunately, there's no branch of MKP in any court. But that matter is being attended to by our legal services, and it will be dealt with accordingly. So the status quo currently is that the president appointed me with the other 7.
But Mary Phadi, remember her? Came out of woodwork and said, girl, hold your horses. I am the MK party convener in Mpumalanga, not you. Oops.
Mary, thank you so much for making time. Good evening.
Good evening, and the viewers at home.
Busisiwe Mkhwebane was sitting exactly where you're sitting there, and she was telling me, I am the one who's been appointed to lead the MK party in Mpumalanga. You have a different view.
Look, the reality of the matter is that we should look at, more on facts rather than, incidents that have happened. She was announced on national TV, and there's a difference between appointment and an announcement. So the reason why it's a different view is that you cannot insist on saying that I'm a former convener, when in actual fact previously Umkhonto Wesizwe would give you a letter of redeployment in your position. So when she was announced, we're thinking that they will submit that letter. In the absence of that, Umkhonto Wesizwe sent me a letter through her office to say that my membership has been terminated, which is something then that had made me to go to court so that we can prove those allegations. So if you are bringing another leader, you cannot bring a leader on allegations. You must bring a leader on the actual fact of how Umkhonto Wesizwe is doing things. And at the moment, it was not based on principle. It was based on emotions and the hearsay. So
what is the situation now? Who is the leader? She says she's the one that's in charge. She even says that she has had meetings with some of the regional, she's on the ground building branches, regional organizations and building leadership from there. Are you still doing your job as convener in that province?
We are working. It's just a normal day for us.
So there are two leaders of the MK party in Mpumalanga?
There's no two leaders. She's in contempt of court. There's no two leaders there. She's not supposed to be there. The legal team has given her a letter to say that she must refrain calling herself a convener of the province and allow me to do my work because she's confusing the ground. Another thing maybe we should differentiate, there's a difference between being on social media, on Twitter, and being on the ground. And the true reflection of the ground is that we are still intact and we are still managing the ground and we are at 95%. I don't know really who she's leading there in Mpumalanga, and I'm hoping to see those people that she's leading. We'll prove that on the 15th of February that we are working in Mpumalanga on the ground. We are not taking pictures of recycling people from one venue to another. We are talking about the true members of Umkhonto Wesizwe.
What's happening on the 15th of Feb?
We've got a mass meeting where we are saying that we are going to 2026 Sikasa Ngamadolo Laduma 2026 program where we'll be sitting as members of Umkhonto Wesizwe in the province talking to each other. So that's what we'll be doing. And I don't know what she's talking about because it was not long. There's an incident whereby they are claiming that they have announced another task team and they had to announce another detachment team. Why should it be different with Mpumalanga and not happen to other provinces? Why don't you do it correctly? So what we'll be doing now is that we'll be re-enrolling the matter because Umkhonto Wesizwe has given us the third lawyer. The first lawyer withdrew, the second lawyer withdrew, the third lawyer is trying its best because they could not get an opportunity to oppose and to appeal the matter, but they've written a letter that they are opposing. But there's no affidavit that have submitted.
So you're taking the party to court again?
We are taking them there so that we are giving them obviously enough time to respond, but they have not responded today. They've just written us a one-page letter to say that they are opposing because they've missed the deadline for the appeal. So if they are saying they are opposing, now then we are going to take them back if they are not going to respond because we are still waiting for those papers. We've received the clean audit. There's nothing that they will take me to court for. You cannot listen to the propaganda and think that you'll get away with it without really doing the things properly in the proper manner. So Mary, it is just unfortunate.
Don't you think that, are you not forcing yourself to the MK party? Because you saying they did appoint you, they've now come publicly to say, we are putting Busisiwe Mkhwebane there. Is this not you maybe not accepting that they are done with you?
I'm a policy-driven person. I'm a leader in my own right. I understand how things are done. And I know how a true leader in Umkhonto Wesizwe, whether from the president to the bottom, how they will follow their own documents. So here it's not about forcing myself. It's about making sure that anyone that is in Umkhonto Wesizwe get a fair treatment as a member of Umkhonto Wesizwe. So it's not about me forcing myself. I don't have to force myself into Umkhonto Wesizwe whether I've worked so much on the ground.
I mean, you're right about working so much on the ground, because my understanding is that province, when you were convener there, that is a province that performed, what, number 2?
Second in the country.
National elections. But Busisiwe Mkhwebane was saying you were not the first convener there. So there are other people that actually did the work before you even arrived.
Definitely. We once had Comrade Andres Gamete, myself as a provincial organizer. So we've been working together, all of us as a team. And why don't you ask yourself a simple question of saying, when they removed Comrade Andres Gamete, they gave her a letter of redeployment. But when they were removing me, they announced her. So it doesn't add up. And
well, maybe that's because your membership is terminated, so there's no opportunity to redeploy you, because
you cannot terminate me on the 7th of October and then give me a letter on the 17th of November. You know, the whole thing doesn't make sense. Whereas when they were asking me to send my resignation, I did send the resignation, and they did not accept it. So if Mkhonto Wesizwe is not accepting what they've asked me to do, then I don't have a choice. But it all comes back, it all comes to the fact that we should live by principle, and we should be fair to all the members, even if I have to leave tomorrow. But Mkhonto Wesizwe must know that they must do things correctly, and I'm here to stay in Mkhonto Wesizwe, and I'm not going to move.
But my concern here, guys, is MK Party's top leadership. Their silence and undecisiveness on critical issues that affect the party is very concerning. If they don't deal with some of their issues, internal issues that is, those issues will come back and bite them in the butt. The silence of MK Party's top leadership shows lack of decisive leadership in as far as this area is concerned, or in as far as this issue of Busisiwe Mkhwebane and Mary Phadi is concerned. Because right now, the status quo in Mpumalanga is very, very, very confusing for the members of the MK. Another issue here pertaining these two Mpumalanga conveners that MK leadership has to really take a very closer look is that we have Busisiwe Mkhwebane, all right, who has been appointed by MK leadership, yes, but does not have the masses. She doesn't have a lot of ground force supporting her. And on the other side, we have Mary Phadi, who might not have been appointed by MK leadership, but that woman has got masses, huge ground force followership. Now, I think MK leadership will have to really look at, before they make a decision, have got to look very closely on those areas. Because if they don't deal with this issue, it's gonna hinder the party growth going forward. And that's not good, and that's not what MK wants right now. And it makes sense why Mary Phadi is whipping some butts in Mpumalanga, and she's doing so well there. Why? Because she's been there longer than Busisiwe Mkhwebane, of course. They've been doing a great job in this thing in Mpumalanga. Mary Phadi and that Mr. Kamede guy. They've been there longer. They've been really doing great job in there, and the ground force love them very much. And they did a great job in Mpumalanga. It makes sense. So MK has to think twice before they dismiss that woman. That's why, in my viewpoint, guys, I think maybe MK should at least relocate that woman, or maybe redeploy that woman into other position rather than dismissing her. Put her in another position, but still in Mpumalanga, so that MK Party doesn't lose the ground force and the masses that that woman has gathered all this time in Mpumalanga. So dismissing her will be like throwing a baby with a bath water. And at this point in time, that's not what MK need right now. And she won't go down without a fight. And MK right now doesn't need that. Believe me, MK doesn't need any further fight than what they already have internally. What do you think? Let me hear your comment below. And of course, if you are coming for the first time, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.